Good day. I was going to say good morning, but it's of course past noon, so it's actually good afternoon. But yeah, you've probably found it an interesting time regarding time the last few weeks in terms of being less aware of what day it is, what time of day it is. Um, you know, and we generally have, of course, these events. Dotting our landscape, whether it's getting up, going to work, into an office, or, social events, things that really kind of pinpoint where we are. And the interesting thing about not having that at the moment is that time is a human construct. So it's quite interesting that when we take away the black and white ideas of time and hours and days and minutes and seconds, um, how we are with that. And I'm just wondering if this is just a off the cuff idea. If during I don't even like using the word isolation because we can all connect like this. But during lockdown, I guess, you've been following more intuitively in terms of I'm not hungry to eat my lunch yet, even though it says on the clock, you know, 1 o'clock or whatever it might be for you normally. And just so I'm just wondering if maybe you've kind of been living more intuitively. That's just a little idea. But welcome to another meditation session for all the White City um, occupiers of White City Place. It's always so good to know that we can reach each other like this and, keep the community together during this time until we can meet in person again. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying the classes. And for those of you that haven't been to mine before, I tend to talk a little bit about a theme because meditation changes every time you go to meditate. It's not always going to be the same. And so that brings up questions about the practice and how we show up and various ideas behind mindfulness meditation, the science behind it, the ease of it. So lots of different themes. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about belief systems because, people do find it difficult to meditate when they first start. And even when you've been meditating for a while, sometimes those practices can be more challenging than others. And so it's, sometimes you might question your belief and say, oh, actually, I thought I was good at this and now I'm finding it really hard. And maybe I'm not so good at meditating as I thought I was. Or you're just starting out and you're saying, oh, I'm not spiritual enough. Um, I can't sit long enough. I get fidgety. So I wouldn't be able to meditate. And the reason I bring up those ideas is that whatever we tell ourselves, we start to believe. So there's it's one of my favorite quotes of all time, which is whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you are right. So in other words, whatever you believe in, that is true for you. And that's why, of course, there are so many different religions, opinions, political parties, you name it, it's the belief that that holds it there for you. But it's really questioning whether your belief is your truth. And there is a slight difference. The beliefs can be, let's go for political parties for argument's sake, but you could believe in a certain way the country is run versus your friend that might not, or whether you believe in wearing a mask at the moment or you don't. All these are beliefs kind of outside of you. but really honing in on the true core of who you are and really what resonates and what is right for you, um, can be different to your beliefs, those ideas outside of you. And we are so, I talked a little bit about this last week about how we allow the outside world, how we see it, to dictate our life. And that then becomes our perception, our belief from what we see in the outside rather than going in. So we spend way too much time out, um, allowing the outward world. When I say the outward world, I just mean, when you're not being contemplative and into your body. We spend so much time looking out that the balance is uneven. There's not enough time looking inward. And I covered that last week. But back to the belief systems. On a more local level, rather than politics or masks or whether you can meditate, on a more local level, in terms of ego, who you think you are is an important place to start. So who you think you are. So, I can say, oh, I am Vivian. I live in London. I'm a good traveler. I've been around the world. I teach yoga. I teach meditation. Um, I have a family. I am this. I am that. I am whatever those things might be. And so it's all about the I. And this is how, we show up in life. We talk about, these human constructs about who we are. And it's not really the best example of who we really, really are. And that's what it's like when you meet someone new, right? You find out their name and where they work and, the odd movie they might like or something like that. Could even be their favorite color. But then you really get to know them the more time you hang out with them. And that's getting a little bit more kind of down to the real side of who they are. So it's just an interesting idea to have this idea of the beliefs being outside of yourself, but the real you being this inward self. And then we have the mind in the way of all of that. And, what you see in the outside physical world, how you perceive that, and then take it into your belief systems, your mind, your brain can also react. It can build neurotransmitters. Say you are thinking that you're not very good at something or you're feeling stressed about something. The neurotransmitters in your brain will more than likely exaggerate that belief or that thought. And that then has an effect on your body. And the mind and the body are all one. I mean, you could even start off with the body then, saying that, the body is the brain and that sends messages up to the mind, for example. We talk about the gut being the second brain. It could even be the first brain. We know that it sends messages to the brain. For example, when you're hungry, that starts off in your gut. It doesn't start off in your head. It starts off in your gut. Your gut knows that it's feeling a bit empty, and it sends a message up to the brain to go, I am hungry. And then the brain starts, the salivary juices going, and then the digestive process follows. That's just one example. If you are anxious, you start feeling a little bit sick in your stomach. That sends a message again up to your brain. It works both ways. So you've got this amazing communication between your mind and your gut. And also, your heart, interestingly enough, sends more messages to your brain than your brain does to your heart. So let that sink in for a little bit. You think that The brain is, the big fat controller telling everything what to do, when really the body and the mind is working together this way. So if you know that more signals are being sent from the heart to the brain, then that makes a bit of a difference in our way of thinking, in terms of thinking that, you know, the mind, the brain is everything. Same thing with the gut, sending messages to the brain. So let's think of the body and the mind as a whole. And then what you feed that from the outer world into your inner world has an effect on both the mind and the body. So it's really important to um, examine your beliefs, because that then has an effect on your body and your mind. It's a really interesting, um, it's not an idea, it is a real fact. So just knowing that is useful. And you think, well, what's that got to do with meditation? And the whole idea with meditation, I repeat this every week. I say it just in case you haven't caught me before. But when you learn to respond to life rather than react, that's really the first basis that we think about of meditation. So, you know, we all do knee-jerk reactions a lot of the time, especially in relationships. We have this idea, that it's all based around the ego. We're competitive creatures. We don't want someone to be right over us, or feel patronized. And then we feel we've got to have the control to come back and defend ourselves. And these are all stories. These are all human constructs that we all absolutely 100% guilty of. Um, but they are human constructs. And when you are able to step back from those stories, um, you'll see really a little bit more about what's important and what's not. My mind went somewhere else when I was saying that, and that was another example of it. And it's a little bit like when something really important happens, like when somebody that you love dies, for example, then those little stories that you've been watching, those niggles that you've had with people, or an importance on, materialism, or an argument with a friend, they all seem so small and irrelevant compared to the death of a loved one. That's just an example of how we prioritize things in our usual domestic life. We go around living these silly little stories, but something big happens, it kind of, whoa, jolts us into realizing what's important. And so I think, so back to meditation, I think that's what's important. You are more in that space of stepping back from the stories, and realizing that none of those stories matter. What really matters is your truth, who you are, um, your your deeper belief system, you know, and it's not dependent on anything outside of yourself. It's more of a knowing rather than a belief. It's just a knowing, you know. And why is that important? Well, it's important for many reasons. It can calm your mind, it can make you feel more secure, it can stop a knee-jerk reaction, it can prioritize things, but it also taps into our more intuitive self. So that intuitive self, that time when you just know something is either wrong or something is right. You just have a feeling about it. It's that gut feeling. There you are. There's another um, association with the gut and the brain. It's that gut feeling. You just know inside you that this thing either rings true for you or it doesn't, or it feels wrong, or it feels right. And you know you're in the right place, or you know you're in the wrong place. So it's really harnessing that as well. So the more we know ourselves on this deeper level, the more able we are able to react. So I guess what I'm trying to say at the end of the day is, rather than allowing the outer world to affect the inner world, let's allow the inner world to affect the outer world. So how we show up in the outer world is really more about who we really, 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 really are. Um, yeah. All right. So let's start our meditation with that idea in mind. So just sitting comfortably. If you've been sitting for the last 15 minutes just listening to me and you need to move, then please do. I always recommend moving a little bit before you meditate. It's a really great idea just to kind of reset your spine. It's the same as well if you're sitting, working on a laptop or um, just at a desk writing, whatever it might be. Um, get up every 40 minutes at least to reset your spine. Have a little wiggle around, have a good old stretch. You can put your arms up above your head and stretch one way, then the other. Just going to reset that spine, and then you are able to sit a little bit longer. All right, so hopefully you're ready for that now. So, yeah, just allow yourself to be really nice and heavy in your body. So just allow yourself to sink into gravity. So gravity is what's pulling us all onto the earth. It's holding us on the earth. Otherwise, we would just float away. So gravity is a great thing. So just feel that pulling you into your seat a little bit more. If you're sitting on the floor, you can feel the floor underneath your bum. If you're sitting on a chair, it might be the floor underneath your feet, or on a sofa, or you might be aware of your back being supported on a chair, whatever it might be. Just allowing yourself to really arrive in that seated position, softening. And then just really take note of the body, how it's feeling. So we'll start off with a little scan. So every time I mention a body part, I want you to see if you could just soften that part a little bit more than it is already. Quite often we think we're relaxed, and so we bring attention to a certain area and then we realize, we could actually relax a little bit more. So starting off at your feet, bringing the attention to the heels, and then the middle arches of your feet, softening there. And your toes, big toe, all the way down to your little toe. Your ankles, softening. Your calf muscles, your shins. And coming to your knees, all the tiny muscles below your knee, above your knee, and behind your knee, inside the kneecaps. Just imagining softening there a little bit more. And then your hips, letting go. And then your shoulder blades, softening through your shoulder blades, followed swiftly by your shoulders, making sure that they are dropping away from your ears, from your neck, going down the arms to the elbows, your wrists, thumbs, and your fingers. back up to your shoulders, letting them drop. And then the skull of your head, the bottom of the skull of your head, just at the top of your neck. And just tracing a line from the bottom of your skull over the back of your skull up to the top, the crown of your head, softening there. And tracing down to your forehead, relaxing your brow line, your eyebrows, the space between your eyebrows, eyelids, and then your eyes, letting your eyes sit really heavy in the sockets. So just feel like you kind of just let them go, just drop the eyes. The sides of your nose. And then your jawline. Allowing the jaw just to soften. Tongue softening into the lower palate. And chin. Your chest. Getting heavy. Down to your belly. Feeling heavier. Heavy in your seat. Relaxed. And just noticing how you're breathing without changing your breath. Don't change anything, just noticing. With every out breath, getting heavier into your muscles, heavier, letting go, softer. And then gravity just draw you in. And then with your next in breath, I want you to imagine you're pulling energy in through your feet, up the legs, into your belly, into the chest, all the way up the back of the neck, all the way to the crown of your head. So it's a long way on an in breath. So just making that the right length to go with the speed of your breath. So if you're breathing quickly, that'll be a really fast journey of energy traveling to your feet, all the way up into the crown of the head. Or if you're breathing slowly, you can maybe just kind of go on that journey a little bit slower as well. So you're just keeping the breath in the same time as that energy coming into your body. Just when you're ready, so breathing in through the feet, through the legs, the hips, the chest, the neck, all the way up to the top of your head. And then just letting it go on the out breath. Nothing to do on the out breath, just let it go. And then breathing in again through the soles of your feet. And just that lovely feeling of letting that go each time you breathe out. Just doing this a few times. If you find that the top of your in breath you quite like that feeling of being filled up with energy, just hold the breath for a couple of beats. Enjoy that at the top. And then just let it go again. Just taking two more like that in your own time. No rush, no hurry. And then when you've finished that, just allowing yourself to just sit really quietly and just notice whatever comes up. It doesn't matter what it is. It might be a thought, it might be a sensation. You might just be enjoying doing nothing, just feeling that nice empty space for a moment. Then we're going to start some more conscious breathing. But this time, we're going to be going up some steps. Just keep your eyes closed as I explain this, but what we'll be doing is we'll be taking a full in breath, but in three stages. And I want you to imagine that it's 9 steps. And the first 3 steps, you'll just be filling in the breath from the belly. Then we pause just for a beat. And then we breathe in the next 3 steps, taking it up to 6 steps. And that'll be the midsection of your chest. Pause for a beat. And then the last 3 steps fills up your upper chest so that the whole of the torso is full with breath after the 9th step. Pause at the top for a beat. And then I want you to imagine that there is a shiny handrail going all the way down these steps again. And you're just going to jump on that handrail and count back from 9 on the out breath. So you'll be going 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as you slide down that banister. So I'll take the first one with you, and then you can go alone after that. I'll still be here, obviously, and I'll let you know when to stop. So, all right. Oh, sorry. One other thing is as well. Each time we do this, when you slide down the banister and you get to the bottom, please allow at least a normal breath, just a normal in and out before you climb the stairs again. All right. So you need that little break in between. It does get quite tiring, believe it or not. All right. So remember, you're going to start off. The important thing is to know that you're cutting the torso into 3 sections so that you don't overfill on the first 3 steps. Otherwise, there's no room left for the rest of them. All right. So whenever you're ready. So breathing in the first 3 steps, just the belly. 1, 2, 3. Pause here just for a beat. Ready to fill up the next bit. Inhaling. 1, 2, 3. That's the second part. Pausing. Last part. 7, 8, 9. Filling up the upper chest. Holding it all there. And then exhaling from 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Take a normal in and out. And then going again. Inhaling. 2, 3. Pausing. Inhaling. 4, 5, 6. Pausing. Holding the breath. Inhaling the last bit. 7, 8, 9. Holding it at the top. And then breathing out. All the way back down the banister, sliding all the way down to the bottom. And taking another normal breath. And then going again. So just in your own time, taking your time. So depending on how slow or how fast your breath is will determine how fast or slow you climb the stairs. The more you do it, the more practiced you get at the amount of oxygen you take in at each little segment. So, of course, when you first start this, you probably take in too much at the beginning. That's okay because you'll obviously learn to um, manage that in future sessions. So, just keeping going in your own time. I want you to see if, as you're sliding down that banister, I just want you to see if you can really soften even more each and every time. Remember to always take just a regular breath at the bottom before you climb again. Any thoughts that might come in, that's absolutely fine. Just remind yourself to take yourself back to the steps, the breathing, the process. So, just taking one more flight in your own time. If you're halfway through one, just finishing that one off. If you just about start another one, go for it. Take your time. We all breathe at different rates, so we'll always wait. I will always wait for you. And whenever you finish, you just kind of slink back into that softness again, almost like an easy chair. You just have nothing to do, nowhere to go, just that softness, little quiet space, no conscious breath, just really soft. So if you just finished, just coming back into that soft space, just noticing how you feel, if there's any sensations, might be tingling in your hands perhaps. Might just be a really nice relief to let go of climbing the stairs, to let go of that conscious breath for a moment. So you start also to notice the difference between the conscious breaths and the breath that you're doing now, just naturally without thinking about it, how different they are. Now, I want you to Go back to what we did before when the energy was coming in through your feet and up through your body, but this time it's going to be the reverse. We're going to start at the crown of the head, and I want you to slowly, in fact, I'll do it with you, but we're going to move down the body. And as we get to each part that I mentioned, we're just going to imagine it just emptying out through the feet, every part of your body. So we're going to start at the top. So all that's left really is just the organ of the skin. That's the only thing that's left keeping its form. So start at the top of the head. Just want you to imagine the brain and the skull just falling through your body, all the way down and out through your feet. Just letting go, creating this empty space now, where the skin forms the head. There's just nothing inside it. Nice and empty. And then just emptying out the neck. Followed by your rib cage. You're going to leave the heart, the only other organ that's going to remain. Leave the heart there. And just let the ribs go. They can just crumble into pieces and just fall out through the legs, through the feet. And then all the intestines, the liver, the kidneys, spleen, stomach, all of that. Just going out of the body, just crumbling. And the muscles in your shoulders, your arms, your fingers, just leaving the body. The leg muscles, the glutes, pelvis, structure, the hips, everything. Just crumbling, falling through the feet. So now you just have this light, vacuous space. Just the heart is beating, but it's not just beating, it's also now your breath. So your in and out breath is coming in and out of your heart. So I'd like you to take your mind to your heart, your attention to your heart. And just let the heart expand so that it fills the whole of the space where the ribs and the lungs once were. So your heart space just opens up. Every in-breath, you feel it expanding, and every out-breath softening. The rest of the body is so light, no structure inside it, no muscles or bones, nothing at all, just light as a feather. Just this big heart beating inside the skin. And I want you to bring in that feeling of joy. So you can just quickly imagine something that really brings you joy, whether it's love from a partner or an animal or something that you've witnessed, an act of kindness, parachuting out of a plane, running through long grass, achieving something, feeling success, looking at an incredible piece of artwork that just brings you so much joy. So just knowing that feeling and bringing it into that heart space. Now, if it helps to bring that feeling in by giving it a color, then give it a color. It could be pink, white, silver, gold, yellow, orange, whatever comes up. Really, the first instinctive color that comes is probably the one that will resonate the most. So trust yourself on whatever comes up. And then I want you, with every in breath, to feel the color and that love just fill that heart, and therefore that big space where your chest, ribs, and lungs once were. So just breathing in that feeling of love and joy, awe. So every in breath, you'll feel that feeling expanding even more, the color expanding even more, pushing out the sides of the skin that inhabit it. Every out breath, you still feel it, but you're just softening. Then in again. So you're feeling this expanse every time you breathe in, this amazing feeling. So just drawing in more of that every in breath. And you feel it just expands so much that it actually goes through the pores of your skin and into your room, expanding out. Feel that lovely uplifting feeling. And this is a feeling you can bring into your life whenever you so desire. Something that makes you feel awesome, you feel joyous, you feel love. Not somebody else's idea of love or joy, but yours. What's your instinctive pull? What do you pull towards that really fills you up? And then see if you can hold on to that feeling as you slowly allow the body to return. So magically, all of the muscles and bones, rib cage and lungs will all come back into the body with no effort. They just slide into their place. But that heart is still expansive because the heart is the feeling is the heart. That is who you are. Holding on to that. Holding on to that as you feel your body in the chair or on the floor or on the sofa or wherever it might be. Bringing in any sounds that might be in your space or outside. Holding on to that feeling as you very gently open your eyes, and just do that slowly because you're letting the light in gradually as you bring yourself back into your space, your surroundings. But knowing that you can hang on to that feeling, I hope you still kept a little bit of it with you, knowing that it is you, That is who you are. Because guess what? You created that feeling inside of you. So you can hold on to it at any time. I'm going to close this now in case you want to carry on sitting with that feeling. It can be feeling very luxurious. Sometimes you just want to bathe in that. So if you want to carry on sitting here, you just do that. But I will say goodbye and just know that this is the real you. And you can bring this out anytime you like. You can tap into it anytime you like. I will see you same time next week.